Hi, everyone. Welcome to Naturally Immune for Life. Thank you for joining me today, and I appreciate your time so much. So, thank you so much for your time. Today, we're going to be talking about nutrition and basically the nutrition and nutrients found in mammal milk products. You may or may not know that long before ready to use therapeutic foods were developed, um, long before. What was most often used to combat severe acute malnutrition and malnutrition um, in war-torn zones, in countries where there might have been a famine, or just general lack of food, to the point where malnutrition was causing diseases like rickets. The most common used item was mammal milk, whole fat mammal milk. And after vitamin D was discovered, but before milk was irradiated, what they used to fortify milk with was cod liver oil. So whole fat mammal milk and cod liver oil were used as a therapeutic agent to help combat malnutrition. So that is what we are going to be talking about today, just the general nutrition in mammal milk products. And this will be kicking off a malnutrition series where I will go back to some of my previously written articles and posts and rewrite them and refresh them, because people generally don't think of people, especially in the United States, as being malnourished. But I assure you that just lacking a few essential vitamins can cause some very major problems, and people don't realize just how bad those problems can actually get. Some common deficiencies, like B12 deficiencies, can actually land you in a wheelchair if the deficiency is especially severe. So people don't realize how some very common vitamins, that when you lack them and are malnourished, even though you don't look malnourished, you might even be obese. You certainly don't look like you're starving, but you still might be suffering some very real effects from malnutrition. So this post this week is just going to be covering the nutritious components. And if you did not care to go for the immune benefits, the homeostasis benefits, the immune regulation and modulation, the autophagy, the macrophage activation, the MAF, the GCMAF, even if you didn't want any of that, you would still find plenty to gain just classifying these as very nutritious foods. So, nutritional benefits of whole fat mammal milk, yogurt, kefir, and bovine colostrum. And just one word about whole fat mammal milk and vitamin D. Whole fat mammal milk contains a lot of oleic acid. Oleic acid is crucial for helping you to synthesize and I just lost the word. Synthesize and not excrete, but just lost the word. Accelerate clearance of vitamin D, because vitamin D can be highly toxic if you do not have that a healthy profile to help you accelerate clearance of vitamin D, which is a hormone precursor. So whole fat mammal milk, yogurt, and kefir and bovine colostrum are all rich sources of nutrition that have supported human health for centuries. These natural dairy products contain a balance of macronutrients, proteins, fats, and carbohydrates, as well as essential micronutrients like vitamins, minerals, and bioactive compounds. Each has unique qualities, but they also share several common benefits that make them valuable additions to the diet. Current research supports their roles in gut health, immune function, nutrient absorption, and metabolic health. Whole fat mammal milk, especially from cows, goats, or sheep, is one of the most complete natural foods. It provides high quality protein, including all essential amino acids, which the body needs for growth, repair, and immune function. Another thing is whole fat mammal milk also helps you repair myelin. The fat content in whole milk is often misunderstood. While low-fat versions have been promoted in the past, recent studies suggest that saturated fats in whole milk may have neutral or even beneficial effects on cardiovascular health when consumed in moderation. These fats also help absorb fat-soluble vitamins like A, D, E, and K. And we already talked about the necessity for accelerated clearance of vitamin D. In fact, whole milk contains significant levels of vitamin D and calcium, which are essential for bone health and hormone regulation. In children, whole milk has been associated with a lower risk of obesity compared to low-fat milk, possibly because it is more satiating and reduces overeating of processed foods. Well, it's satiating because it's whole fat. And fat is always satiating, but it's just a beneficial fat. And okay, so yeah, that's about whole fat mammal milk. Yogurt is made by fermenting milk with specific bacterial cultures, usually Lactobacillus bulgaricus and Streptococcus thermophilus. This process breaks down some of the lactose, making yogurt easier to digest for people with mild lactose intolerance. Even if you have lactose intolerance, you can usually tolerate at least 250 milliliters of milk. So yogurt provides many of the same nutrients as milk, including protein, calcium, and B vitamins, but it also contains live probiotics, beneficial bacteria that help balance the gut microbiome. A healthy microbiome is linked to improved digestion, enhanced immunity, and reduced inflammation. Regular yogurt consumption has been associated with a lower risk of type 2 diabetes and heart disease, likely due to its effects on metabolic health and inflammation markers. Yogurt may also help prevent gastrointestinal infections by strengthening the intestinal barrier and competing with harmful bacteria. It also helps produce B vitamins, and it also helps increase the B vitamin content in foods. Kefir is a more potent fermented milk product that contains a wider variety of probiotic strains and yeasts. It is made by adding kefir grains, a mix of bacteria and yeast, to milk, resulting in a tangy, slightly fizzy beverage. Kefir is especially rich in probiotics such as Lactobacillus kefiri, which has been shown to inhibit the growth of pathogens like Salmonella and H. pylori. Kefir also produces bioactive peptides during fermentation, which have been shown to have antibacterial, anti-inflammatory, and antihypertensive properties. Because kefir improves lactose digestion, it is often tolerated by people who are otherwise lactose intolerant. Additionally, kefir may benefit mental health through the gut-brain axis. Some preliminary research suggests it could reduce anxiety and depression-like symptoms by supporting a diverse microbiota and reducing gut inflammation. Bovine colostrum is the first milk produced by cows in the first few days after giving birth. It is thicker and richer than regular milk and packed with immune factors, growth factors, antibodies, especially IgG, and nutrients that are critical for newborn calves, but also highly beneficial for human health. Colostrum contains high levels of lactoferrin, which helps fight infection by binding iron and preventing bacterial growth. It also supports gut healing by promoting the growth of intestinal cells and reducing inflammation. Human studies have shown that bovine colostrum supplementation can reduce the risk of gastrointestinal infections, improve gut barrier function, and enhance immune responses in both children and adults. It also helps athletes recover more quickly from intense training by reducing exercise-induced gut permeability and inflammation. Colostrum also helps increase commensal bacteria by 52-fold. So it's also a great prebiotic. Together, whole-fat mammal milk, yogurt, kefir, and bovine colostrum provide complementary benefits. Whole milk provides essential fats and fat-soluble vitamins that enhance nutrient absorption. Fermented dairy products like yogurt and kefir support gut and immune health by delivering probiotics and beneficial fermentation byproducts. Colostrum offers powerful bioactive compounds that can repair the gut lining and strengthen immune defenses. All of these products are rich in calcium and magnesium, which is important not just for bone health, but also for nerve signaling and muscle contraction. They also contain B vitamins like riboflavin and B12, which are essential for energy production and red blood cell formation. In conclusion, by incorporating whole-fat mammal milk, yogurt, kefir, and bovine colostrum into the diet can provide a wide range of nutritional benefits, especially when sourced from grass-fed animals and consumed in their most natural forms. These traditional dairy foods offer much more than basic nutrition. They are functional foods that support gut health, immunity, and long-term metabolic balance. So here are all the sources. And then here is an assessment of the totality of scientific evidence. Are milk and dairy products good or bad for human health? And the conclusion is the totality of available scientific evidence supports that intake of milk and dairy products contribute to meet nutrient recommendations and may protect against the most prevalent chronic diseases, whereas very few adverse effects have been reported. So you might hear that you outgrow your need for milk once you become a, get out of your toddler years, or grade school years, and definitely by the time you are an adult, you outgrow your need for milk. Well, that is just simply not true. Milk is always good for you because just based on nutrition alone. But if you knew the individual constituents of milk, especially when it comes to diseases like cancer, you would understand that milk and milk products are extremely beneficial for fighting disease. Another reason to be concerned about malnutrition, even in addition to poor microbiota development, mineral and vitamin content are depleted in standardized production of fruit and vegetables. 60 years of producing standardized fruit and vegetables and creating industrial hybrids have had a dramatic impact on their nutritional content. In the past 50 years, vegetables have lost 27% of their vitamin C and nearly half of their iron, according to a French documentary. For example, the tomato. Through multiple hybridization, scientists are constantly producing redder, smoother, firmer fruit, but in the process, it has lost a quarter of its calcium and more than half of its vitamins. So, in addition to the poor nutrient deprived or depleted soil, vitamins and mineral content are depleted in standardized production of fruit and vegetables. So that's kind of like a double whammy. And it's very sad to realize that as far as we have come in combating starvation, we've done little to increase or decrease malnutrition. So that's quite sad that we've come a very long way in combating starvation, only to increase malnutrition due to several factors. Poor microbiota development would be number one. Lack of food quality would be the second cause, and lifestyle choices. Choosing non-quality food would be a great third. So they did a groundbreaking study in 2004, and they compared the USDA nutrient data for 43 garden crops across nearly 5 decades. And this research documented significant declines in multiple key nutrients. So protein was down by 6%, calcium is down by 16%, iron is down by 15%, vitamin C is down by 15%, riboflavin, very important, is down by 38%, and phosphorus is down by 9%. And you can get a link to that study in the source, and you can learn about one of the top producers, Hazara, the tomatoes of tomorrow in Europe, and they are similar to Monsanto and similar to these monopoly giant industrial production food seed companies. What's the other one? Geez, not just Monsanto, Cargill, companies like that have a great deal of control over the food that we eat. And as I said, it's very sad to learn as far as we've come in combating starvation and combating poor sanitation, only to end up more malnourished and more prone to infectious disease. Not only us, but our plants as well. Um, and I've studied many of the effects of industrialization on plants alone. And just one example is wheat, and wheat is so weak now that it literally cannot survive without fertilizers and all of the chemicals and things they use to grow it. So that's just one more example of how bad the quality of our food has gotten from industrialization. So, okay, everyone, that wraps it up for this week. And coming soon, I will be delving into specific vitamins, the B vitamins especially, but I will cover all of them. B's, A, E, D, and I will help you to understand just how serious malnutrition can be, even when someone does not look malnourished at all. So thanks again for your time, and I'll see you next time. Have a great day and a great week. Bye.